So what's the Grape Explorer talking about today? Well, I told you I was adventurous. What does that actually mean? Well, I like to try things. I like to travel. I love, learning about different places. But I'm going to talk about a place that I never, probably in the scheme of things, would talk about because it has really nothing to do with grapes. Of course, I'm the Grape Explorer, and I try to talk about grapes. But I'm going to talk about something that fascinates me, and it's called sake. And sake right now is a hot commodity in the United States for obvious reasons. Everybody right now is really into Japanese cuisine. I mean, the restaurants are just packed with people. They want to learn all of, and I mean, we love sushi. Oh my God, it's so fun to go and just have sushi. But a lot of people really might not know to a certain degree about sake. So I had a chance to talk to what I would say is one of the leading foremost people of sake, and he's actually located in Tokyo. He gave me a bottle of this, and I want to give a shout out to Ken Takehisa, who is the president and CEO of Monten. His office is located in Tokyo. But this is, if you look on the map, and we want to show you this really map because it's the only map I really had was Hugh Johnson's map. And they are located in a specific place called Nagano. And you can see Nagano is very close to Tokyo here. And this is where a lot of what they call the breweries are located. And yes, we are going to talk about sake almost like you're making beer, but it's made out of rice. So there's different degrees of sake, and I'm going to tell you an interesting story. So I went to a producer at the recent show that I went to, and I said, explain me sake. I want to learn a little bit about sake. And I think that what he broke out a sake for me, and I tasted it, and I said, wow, that's the best sake I think I've ever had in my life, hands down. And I said, just out of curiosity, how much is this sake? And he said, the cost from Tokyo is $200 a bottle. And I said, $200 a bottle? I said, so obviously in the United States, it's going to be like $400 a bottle. And I was kind of like taken aback, I said, okay, now is this like Burgundy? And we talk about Burgundy being, we talk about the difference between Merceau and just a Bourgogne Blanc. What is the differences between a great sake and just an average sake? So I'm going to spend as much time as I can at least explaining a little bit about what I think, because obviously it's all about the rice, and what they do is they polish the rice. And we're going to talk about this right here because this was the bottle that was given to me, and it is called a Junmai. So if you look on the label, you can actually, so you see the name of the producer right here, which is called Monten, and then you see down here, this is called Junmai Kimoto. And the polish rate is 65%. That means that this is a high degree level of one of the best sakes, because what they do is they polish the rice. This is about 17% alcohol. But from what I was actually told, and I think it's important here to note, this is very gastronomic sake. What does that actually mean? Well, that means that you can pair this with food. And this particular producer right here has got 5 different sakes, but we wanted to zero in on this one because this is the bottle that he'd give me. This actually goes with pork chops and beef steak. The rice is grown from Hidegoshi, locally grown rice. This area is known as the Alps of northern Japan because it's very mountainous there, known for its soft mineral water. Water is very important for sake. This very famous area is called Takarano Mizu, which means treasured water, which makes the mellow flavor of the Monten sake so famous. So, of course, sake is not part of my, my wine kind of passion, but I'm very interested in this because right now it's growing faster and faster in the United States. I think that there's a culture out there of people that want to learn about sake. I want to learn about it, so I'm here to try to at least give you some of the basics because this is called Junmai. Junmai is considered one of the finest because of that. The way that what they do is they polish the rice. 70% polished rice is the minimum for Junmai. This is actually 65%, and what it is very high polish. And when you get that, you can actually smell the aromatics, because the aromatics very much like wine. That's the reason why I wanted to talk about this, because when I smell this, I don't smell anything about rice. And of course, don't smell grapes, because the aromatics are completely different. But you do get that little citrus tone, and you get a little bit of that minerality, which I think is interesting, because they also, what Ken was explaining to me, and the reason why I even wanted to do this, because he's a high level sommelier. He actually had a chance to pick the grapes at La Tâche one year in Burgundy. So as a sommelier, he's got a passion for wine, but he also has a passion for sake, because they have a master's in a master of wine. He's actually a master of wine and a master of sake. And what he said was the best pairing in the world, especially from that high level that he was trying to at least expose me to. That when I said $200 for a bottle of sake, why? And he said, well, if you've never had it, you have the fish. Of course, fish is very big in Japan, but they put caviar on top of the fish, and then they pair that sake with that, and it's the best pairing in the world that actually goes with that fish, that goes with the caviar and the flavors. But so I smell this, and it's very refined. I've had sake before, and it never really blew me away. I was always like, it's okay. This is when you jump into really high level sake. That should be explored by people who really want to learn about food and wine culture. Again, it's not just about Japanese cuisine. We can have this with like you said, like a piece of steak, and you can have this because it actually goes together. It has a richness, but it's not weighty. It's very elegant, and it's long in the mouth. I can actually taste this, and I can bring my wine kind of thought knowledge to when I'm drinking sake, but it has to be, something intriguing to me. And again, when I tasted the $200 bottle of sake, I said, oh my God, that is divine. But again, who's going to afford to buy, $400 and $300? Especially, they're all going into the top restaurants in New York City and in Miami and Los Angeles. When you're starting to see like sake on wine lists, at least from a standpoint of understanding what it is, it's in a different world by itself, and it should be placed that way. But again, I'm adventurous. I want people to be adventurous. We're trying this one last time. Oh, that's exquisite. That is beautiful, and we call it beautiful Junmai. Again, this is Monten. It's owned by Ken Takehisa. He's an incredible guy. He lives in Tokyo. He wanted to educate me. I want to be educated on sake, and I want you to be educated on sake too. Again, this is a Grape Explorer. We're always here to bring different products to the plate. Cheers.